While we were all recovering from the carbohydrate coma that we put ourselves into at Thanksgiving, Business Insider posted an article that caused and is causing quite a stir in conservative circles. And given what the headline is, you begin to understand why. So I thought we'd take a few minutes to talk about it and ask some logical questions that the headline raises, and ask an even more important question: should Business Insider even be posting this article? Hang on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Before we start this video, I was wondering if I could ask some favors of you. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. I could use all the help I can get. Number two, leave a comment below. Number three, please give me a thumbs up. Number four, share the video. And finally, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new live streams and new videos are coming out. And now to the video. Business Insider dropped an article that is absolutely making conservatives freak out. And like I said, when you see the headline, you begin to understand why they're doing it. And a lot of accusations are being made. Are they right? Are they wrong? Who knows? But the accusers of Business Insider think they have a justifiable beef. So I thought we'd take a look at what this article is and make some comments about. So we'll go right to the heart of the matter. This is from the 25th of November, which would have been Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. The headline is, "Here's what happens if Donald Trump dies while running in the 2024 presidential election." Subheadlines: Donald Trump is currently the Republican frontrunner heading into the 2024 election. He is 77 years old and will turn 78 in June. If Trump dies while running for re-election, a few different things could happen. And the article reads like this. Former President Donald Trump is far and away the Republican frontrunner heading into the 2024 election. He is 77 years old, will be 78 in June. If Trump dies while seeking re-election, a few different things could happen depending on when he dies and how close it is to Election Day. No, there's no national deadline to file to run for President of the United States. Instead, filing deadlines vary depending on the state and the party. There are currently 8 declared candidates, including Trump, on the GOP side. If Trump were to die before January 1st, 2024, there would likely be other Republicans who would want to jump into the race. Many state filing deadlines have already passed, however, meaning that state election officials would need to adjust them to allow new candidates to enter the race. If Trump died during the primary season, which ends in mid-June, some states may postpone their scheduled primaries. There is some precedent for this. At the height of COVID-19, more than a dozen states postponed their primaries or expanded vote-by-mail options. If Trump died after the last primary contest but before the Republican National Convention, the other GOP presidential candidates would have to make their case to every state delegation at the convention for why they should be the party's nominee. If Trump secured the GOP nomination but died between the convention and Election Day 2024, the RNC would convene to select another presidential candidate. Okay, that's the article. Let's get into this. I've got to admit, for my part, when I saw this headline and read the article, I kept looking at it going, really? Really? How can you possibly be writing something like this? However, Simon Atiba of Africa News Today pointed out something that I did not realize, and for the sake of fairness, let's put this out there. Business Insider, believe it or not, wrote the same kind of piece as it relates to Joe Biden. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This was put out on Thanksgiving Day. What happens if a sitting president dies while running for re-election? Now, I'm not necessarily going to read the whole thing because, honestly, you could make the argument that the Donald Trump piece is basically the exact, it's a copy and paste version of this, right down to everything except the initial details and the names involved. Reads almost exactly the same. Now, that sort of gets to some interesting questions. For my part, under the First Amendment, freedom of speech and freedom of the press, Business Insider has the right to print this article, or articles, I should say. That said, however, is this the most responsible thing they could be doing? Absolutely not. It is, as far as I'm concerned, the height of irresponsibility to print these articles. Or put it this way, if this were 2024 and something had happened to either Trump or Biden, or God forbid both of them, then I can understand printing an article like the kind that Business Insider put out, particularly as it relates to Trump. Okay? However, my problem with this is, number one, we don't even know if Trump's going to be the nominee yet, but honestly, it's a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. But why is Business Insider even asking this question? There are people on Twitter, particularly Brandon Strack of the Walkaway movement, who've made the observation Trump is younger, in better health, and more mentally agile than the current occupant of the White House. Okay, maybe not. That's for debate. Can't say as I disagree with Brandon Strack on that point, but you see what I'm getting at. But I ask the question again, why is Business Insider even printing this kind of an article? Nothing has happened to either one of these men, particularly Trump. There's no indication that anything like this is going to happen to either one of them, particularly Trump. Yet Business Insider is putting out something like this. And frankly, my other complaint with Business Insider magazine about this is, really? You're printing this kind of article in this kind of climate? Let's remember, it wasn't that many years ago when a crazed man went to a congressional baseball game and nearly shot and killed Congressman Steve Scalise from Louisiana because of things that he had read, comments he had heard, etc., and they'd hyped him up so bad he felt like he had to go out and do violence to the people who were his political enemies. This is not the kind of thing you ought to be printing, especially in this kind of environment. It wouldn't take much, and God forbid it happen, but it wouldn't take much for someone to read something like this, get the wrong idea in their delusional state, and possibly even do something based upon it. Oh, come on, Front Porch, you're just being exaggerating that. No, I'm not. That's a reasonable consideration. Like I said, Business Insider has the right to print this thing. I can't stop them from doing it. No one else can. But to me, it is the height of irresponsibility to put this article out. Number one, because of when it's being put out, and number two, who it's involving. There are already speculation right now that actions could be taken against Donald Trump's life for any number of different reasons. This sort of thing, in its own unique way, is adding fuel to the fire. Now, do I think that the writer of the article or the editors at Business Insider were thinking that very thing? No. I think they put out a piece, and they said, okay, we did one on Biden, let's now do another one on Trump. But to me, this article is doing nobody any favors. As far as I'm concerned, it never should have been written. So, honestly, the best thing Business Insider could do for themselves, retract both pieces, and frankly give an explanation as to why they did it. If they don't want to do a flat-out apology, at least the explanation gets them off the hook for doing something that, as far as I'm concerned, is grossly irresponsible. And many people feel much the same way. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number two, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about all this. Number three, hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new videos, new live streams are coming out. Number four, please share the video around. And finally, give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative, and I'll see you next time.